Have you ever felt like your entire life suddenly stopped making sense? Like the things that you used to love don't feel right anymore? People you were once close to felt or feels distance now? Or maybe your anxiety spikes for no reason. You cry randomly, multiple times a day. You question everything. And somewhere in the middle of all that, you quietly wonder, am I losing my mind? Well, tonight's witch talk is for you because what if I told you that you might not be going crazy at all? You might be just waking up. So, hello, my beautiful souls. Welcome back to Witch Talk, where we talk about spirituality without the fluff, without the fear tactics, and without pretending like everything is love and light all the time. Because real spiritual growth is messy. And tonight we're talking about something that many people experience, but almost nobody really prepares for. How can you prepare for everything that you might be going through? Right? Because spiritual awakening and why it can feel like everything is falling apart is because it gets messy, right? So let's talk about what spiritual awakening actually is. We'll start there because a spiritual awakening is not suddenly becoming psychic overnight. It's not. It's not about seeing angels in your kitchen. And it's definitely not becoming a perfectly peaceful, enlightened being. A spiritual awakening is a shift in perception. And it's when the identity you built to survive starts no longer fitting who you are becoming. Your brain tries to keep stability, your soul pushes towards truth, and that tension feels terrifying, right? Now, a lot of us in this spiritual awakening time, we feel like we might be dying. And it's not that we're literally dying. We feel that what we're releasing is what's called an ego death. Okay. It does feel like death. You feel like, believe me, I've gone through it so many times that I'm like, I'm not doing this anymore. Because honestly, it's heavy. Not that it's dramatic or anything, but it's something that really feels like you don't know who you are. And that is your old identity. And those are the roles that we played, the masks that we wore, and the beliefs that we inherited through our family, our ancestors, and even through our ancestral lineage, like back. It can go years, decades, centuries, okay, even. And your system or your nervous system doesn't know that this is a spiritual growth that you're going through. It thinks that it's in danger. So you may experience panic attacks, sudden anxiety that you've never had before, emotional overwhelm where you feel like you're just going to break down at any given moment. You may be feeling detached from reality, and that may feel like you don't know who you are anymore. And there's nothing wrong with you. It just means that everything that you thought that you knew is all of a sudden becoming, I guess, reorganized. And during this time, we go through what's called a loneliness, and that's because we lose people. So let's talk about that for a moment because it's the part that nobody wants to admit. You lose people. The people that you had in your life at one time is no longer the people you connect with. Because if one person is growing and those other people, you can't ask everybody to go through the same spiritual growth that you're going through, right? You have to experience it for yourself. And when you and the only way that you can do that is alone. And some of those people that may have been there for you in the past or for many years. They can even be family. They can be friends that you've had for years because you're at different paths. And that's why, and it's not because you feel that you're better than them, and it's not because they're bad. So don't think that. Okay. A lot of people will think that if you detach from somebody or you no longer move forward with somebody, it's because you have to hate them. You don't have to hate them. You might just not be, one person's here and one person's here. You can't expect them to meet you at your level, right? They're not there. You're doing your own thing, they're doing their own thing. So awakening changes people. It changes the resonance. It And so you might start noticing even conversations that you've once had. I've had this plenty of times, feels very shallow. Drama feels exhausting, and pretending feels impossible. You don't want to pretend anymore. And that is sometimes people react strongly to that change. You've changed. You're not the same person. Why are you acting like this? Right? And they may even say, and this goes for a lot of intuitives, you're too sensitive now. Or you're different. I don't know if I like the new you. So quietly we grieve. We grieve these relationships that and here's the thing, we grieve these relationships while they're still alive. And that grief is real. It's different if somebody passes away and and you have to lose them that way. There's a grief process, but you know where they are, you know why, right? So this feels a lot different when you start losing people. You may think that you're doing something wrong, or they may feel that they're doing something wrong, but it has nothing to do with that. It's just you're at different stages, and you can't be, it's like a teeter-totter. You can't be on the bottom and be on the top at the same time. You can't. So the reason why, and we're going to talk about this right now, is why does everything feel chaotic? Anybody noticing that? Everything will feel either exhausting or like there's all this stuff around you when there actually isn't. Because during your awakening, your brain actually it literally reevaluates your reality. It questions everything. Your beliefs, the beliefs that you were taught, your religion, your success, your past relationships, your relationships now, and even who you thought you were, because you'll notice that change. And you can't be the same person you were when you were 5. You've learned so much since then. So this may create distance in a sense. Your old worldview cracks open. It's like all of a sudden the sea splits. And chaos enters before you even get clarity, because you don't know what's going on. And this is why it feels heavy. This is why we go through those emotions. This is why our thoughts get cluttered and we can't think straight, and we don't know if we want to do this or do this. You don't get a beautiful new space first. You get dust. You get noise. You have to tear down the walls, because you can't reconstructure and rebuild something that was meant to collapse. That collapse happened for a reason, and you may need to go out and get new stuff, new product for your build, right? The same thing goes with us. We may feel that there's your hair needs to change, or the way that you dress may to change, or how you present yourself to people may change. So let's normalize something that's really important right now, okay? Spiritual awakenings can overlap with mental health struggles. It can. And I want to say this responsibly. Spiritual experiences do not replace professional help. So if you need to get support, get it. Okay? Not everything is a spiritual awakening. This is where remember, I think it was last week's class or the week before, we did discernment. I think it was last week's class. We did discernment. So if you need a refresher, go back and watch it and listen, okay? Because if you feel that and even if you are going through a spiritual awakening, sometimes just getting some therapy, counseling, somebody to talk to, somebody to vent with is what you need just to make sense of what you're going through, right? It's a way of processing your feelings and emotions. Sometimes I know that for myself, and my friends already know this of me, but I think out loud. So it may not necessarily make sense in the moment because I'm on lather, rinse, repeat. I'm going, okay, this is going on, and my wheels are spinning until I realize, oh, okay, this is what it is. So if you feel that talking to a counselor or a therapist, professional, please get it. Don't take this on yourself. If you feel that it might be depression or anything like that, it can be very overwhelming and it might just need some time. Okay. But many awakenings do include the nervous system overload because you'll feel more, you notice more, and you suppress less. And your emotional volume turns up. Your system is learning a new way of existing. So, some signs that you may see or feel when you're going through this, okay, is the sudden need for solitude. I know that for myself to process anything that I'm going through, I will take a project and I will focus on that because that's a good way for me to meditate. I seem to get my best ideas there. I get clarity when I'm focused on one thing. It might be a game, like Scrabble, like not Scrabble, but crosswords or something like that that your focus zoomed in on. And that's how you get rid of the noise on the outside. And that can help you calm those feelings, calm those emotions. And that might be all you need for your solitude because you are going to increase your intuition and your energy, like your environments. You're going to be sensitive to those. Anything that you used to love, you might not love anymore. Those old habits that you had, maybe you were a chain smoker and all of a sudden just naturally you want to quit. Those are all ways of going through an awakening. I find that you will no longer feel that you need approval. You have more desire to be authentic over approval. But you also might question your life purpose. You might sit there and think, I feel like I have a purpose. I don't know what my purpose is. What's my purpose? I know I've gone through it, so I'm pretty sure you guys have gone through it too. But the one thing that is the most important thing is you can no longer pretend to be someone you're not. And if you don't like somebody, maybe out of the blue, and it may have been, like I said, nothing that they've done, but all of a sudden you're not crazy about them. And it's just their energy. You might feel that energy. You want to be authentic and you don't want to be around fake people because those fake people might drive you crazy. And this is why people think they're going crazy because going through an awakening removes certainty. And humans love certainty. But awakening eyes, you don't actually need to know everything quite yet. And that is, I guess, destabilizing. But madness will pull you away from reality. And awakening will bring you even closer to that. And that's why grounding is really important. It matters the most right now, okay? Because you your head is going to feel like it's in the clouds. And what helps with feeling in the clouds is to ground your body. We talked about this last week too, is getting into your roots and letting yourself expand. This is your awakening, right? But like as above, so below. So you got to get yourself grounded so that you can take in that energy. Because if you can't, remember, that's how you nourish yourself. Think of it as a tree. You are a tree. How do you get your nutrients? You get your nutrients from the ground, right? And the only way that you can grow is if you supply it with the sunlight and the water that you need, the stuff that you need. So, real food, sleep, getting out into nature, moving your body. Okay. And I'm bad for this. And I know that because I work a lot on my YouTube channel. And for any of those who have noticed, I've skyrocketed in a lot of areas, which I'm really happy with. But that's my purpose. That's what I feel that I'm being called to. So I got to get into a habit though of taking a day off and having less scrolling. I do. I'm always looking for content. I'm always looking to learn, but that's I think more of the Aquarius in me. I've got lots of Aquarius in my chart. I think I've told you guys this before. And I have to constantly learn, constantly teach myself. I can't sit still. I need that. That's my thing. That's what nurtures me. I love to learn. I love to know as much. And it's about all the stuff that I love to learn about. Don't give me a book on history. I don't care about history. I care about everything else. I know. But we have to take the time out to stop and smell the roses. And that means less comparison. Don't compare yourself to what everybody else is doing. You are not behind anybody. And that's not going to make you ascend faster. Okay. You are unfolding exactly the way that you are meant to with your stubborn slowdowns and takes and all that stuff. Believe me, the universe knows exactly what you plan on doing. It knows that you're delaying. It knows when you're procrastinating because it's all put in your chart. So if you can get over your ego part of yourself and just know that this is what craves your soul, just do what you love to do. Doesn't feel like work. It doesn't feel like work to me. Okay. And the beautiful part of this that, and again, I don't think people talk about is the beautiful part of ascending because eventually things do settle. You stop chasing validation. You start to trust yourself more. Peace becomes quieter, but deeper. And you don't become perfect, you become real. And that is far more powerful than anything. And if you're going through this right now, I want you to hear this clearly. You are not broken, you're not failing, and you are not alone. Sometimes awakening feels like falling apart, and I get it. I get it. But that's because you're shedding everything that was never truly you to begin with, though. You're just shedding that old skin, just like a snake, right? A snake grows and sheds its skin. A snail grows. You don't think that they do because you sit and look at the snail and their shells, they find new shells. Crabs. Crabs will do the same thing. They go from one shell to and I'm like, how do they do that? But I've seen videos and like, oh my God, it's so amazing when you start watching stuff like that. And that just shows how much we are just this little speck of dust in this massive universe. So think about that. You're worried about yourself and what you're going through in this big mass sea of what? We are just a speck. We're not even a speck of dust. Speck of dust is too big. Okay. So please understand that you are just shedding your old skin. You're releasing it. You don't need it anymore. It was cracked. It was broken. You need a new one. And you shed that one. It wasn't you anymore. And sometimes that's the bravest thing we can do is allow ourselves to change into the person that we were actually meant to be without everything else in the way. You don't need validation. You don't need any of that. And that's one of the hardest things to let go of. So if this episode helped you feel seen, share it with somebody that you might think that might, or that you might, that might need it. That's what I'm trying to say. We're in Mercury retrograde. I'm using that as my excuse. If you know someone who might need this, please go ahead and share it. That's what I'm trying to say. And tell me in the comments below if you've gone through an awakening, if you're going through an awakening, if you are surviving an awakening right now, and what part of your awakening surprised you the most. But until next Witch Talk, stay grounded, stay curious, and stay magical. Love you guys all, and I will talk to you next week. Ciao for now.